I hope you're all doing well and welcome to today's episode of the Weapons of War podcast. Continuing with the introduction of electric buses in Kampala. The previous episode, we talked about the cashless agenda that is being rolled out in Uganda, and that is global and is far-reaching implications, how it's going to affect us or the intentions of the people behind this cashless agenda, what they intend to unleash on us. And it's all about control. I talked about that in depth. But today I'm here to talk about another agenda that is associated with electric cars, electric motorbikes, electric, especially when it comes to automobiles. So again, the rollout of these electric buses also hints at another agenda which we are going to talk about today. Though I've seen that much of the discussion about electric buses has been by the tax operators who have been saying that, you know what, because they are mainly, government or KCCA, buses, they are going to eat into their profitability. They should be taken out of the country. It is so the discussion is around profitability and employment and their money. The competition is not, the competitive, landscape is not going to be fair. So those have been the arguments, and fair as those arguments are, there is a deeper, even worse, agenda at play. I talked about the cashless previously, but today I'm also going to talk about another, so that we may know the end of this agenda at the beginning. So much of the talk when they are launching these electric buses was one part of it was about introducing this modern kind of transportation, modern, and then they talked about air pollution. That, with the electric buses, even the air pollution in Kampala is going to get better. So you realize that whenever they talk about electric, they talk about it in comparison to the other cars that use fossil fuels. And you know that in this time when people are talking about climate change, one of the major issues that has been at the fore of this fight has been the reduction of the use of fossil fuels. So when you talk about fossil fuels, you're looking at things like diesel, coal, like petrol. So when people talk about, the use of those fossil fuels emits a lot of these greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, which is causing all these instabilities in our climate. So when they talk about combating climate change and reduction of the use of fossil fuels, where do you think that's going to end? Do you think the use of cars that are powered by petrol and diesel is going to be spared? No. So this talk of electric cars, better than this, better than that, better than guns of course, they are cleaner, they're using cleaner energy, they don't pollute the air, and compared to, unlike the cars that use petrol and diesel, the fumes that we've seen in exhaust pipes, people say, oh, the air in Kampala is not clean, the air in Kampala is not clean. That talk is not coming from anywhere. That talk is engineered to portray the electric cars as cleaner and all that, while the others are dirty. And I'm going to show you that. It's again related to climate change. So they are telling us that the part of the ways of combating climate change, we should reduce the use of fossil fuels. And if you are reducing the use of fossil fuels, that means the cars too are going to be affected. But realize that this is a global agenda. There's been a global move, like I showed you previously. There's been a global move to move away from the use of fossil fuels. From here in Uganda, when we were beginning the construction of the East African crude oil pipeline, there were demonstrations saying, we should save our planet, we shouldn't extract our oil. Those demonstrations go on worldwide. Then there's this that I read in the previous, episode. Fossil fuel phase out is a precondition for the emergence of economic models that align with the right to a healthy environment. So they say the use of fossil fuels is not aligned to a health environment, that they pollute the environment a lot. Therefore, we need to do away with them. We saw also in the UK how they are going to destroy these power plant. They're going to, shut it down after it has been in operation for 42 years. Again, it's part of that agenda that, we are at a precarious, place or in history where we have to do something, that standing by is not an option. We need to have all hands on deck to ensure that, we stop all these human activities that are responsible for climate change are curbed. And one of those human activities that are being fought tooth and nail is the use of fossil fuels. And that fight has gotten to your cars, all your motorbikes. So now they are pushing the agenda that electric cars are better. They use cleaner energy. There's no air pollution, and those narratives are going to be even pushed by you, unfortunately, because we may not know the far-reaching implications of that. But it's what we are here to talk. So we have heard about that. Some of the things they say that we need to that we need to be careful about. They say climate change hurts health. See that there are health impacts from heat waves. They talk about health impacts like dehydration, kidney disease, mental health, respiratory diseases, heat cramps, heat stroke. You see, now when we talk about it, so if we are going to tackle all these things, heat stroke, can you imagine? Now, if we are going to tackle these things that are, are coming, because all these health issues that are coming because of climate change, that means we need to take care of certain of the things. We need to get rid of certain of the things we've been used to in our lives, including the cars, because you have to take care of our health first, especially the fossil fuel powered cars, so that we may shift to electric powered cars. Again, there's also this that I spotted, updated global air pollution roadmap to cut deaths caused by poor air quality by 50% by 2040. So there is a roadmap that was put out by World Health Organization on how to curb deaths by air by poor air quality. So there are deaths related to poor air quality. And the World Health Organization has set out an agenda of reducing these debts by 50% by 2040. How are they going to reduce these debts? What steps are they going to take? Getting rid of fossil fuel powered cars, petrol, diesel. Those cars have to be phased out so that we use electric cars, because part of the problem that we have, especially when they talk about air pollution, they say part of that major air pollution is the use of these cars. They emit a lot of fumes. That's what they say. And there's this that I also showed in the previous episode where they talked about 99% of the world's breathing at unsafe levels due to air pollution from sources such as burning fossil fuels. So they're saying 99% of the air we breathe is unsafe. It's at unsafe levels. You move here, a border is emitting fumes, taxis, buses, and some of these cars are old. So they are saying, no, the air, pollution here is too much. Therefore, what can we do about it? One of the ways, one of the steps that they're taking to address the issue of air pollution, to make it healthier for us to stay in our cities, is to get rid of these cars that use fuel, that use diesel, so that we may shift to electric cars. Right now, it seems option. It seems fancy to say I drive a hybrid car, which uses electric and petrol, or I drive an electric car. It seems all fancy at the moment, and optional. A time will come where it's enforced. Are there some places where it's been enforced? Yes, we are going to look at those here, so that you may know that what is taking place here actually is already taking place somewhere else, so that you may know the end of what they have rolled out here. Okay, and then there's also this that I saw talking about electric cars. Here, this was the former health secretary of the UK, Matt Hancock. This is what he said. We are seeing the impact of climate change across Europe and across the world. We have recently seen the hottest days in recorded history. The glaciers are melting. The temperature is rising faster than expected. Delaying the move away from fossil fuel cars would be completely irresponsible. So he's talking about these serious impacts of climate change across the world. And the solution he's saying is delaying the move away from fossil fuel powered cars would be completely irresponsible. Therefore, we have to be responsible citizens, or they have to be responsible leaders and start to find ways of moving the world away from fossil fuel cars to what? Electric. I have showed this headline over and over. Over Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, what said Sadiq to unite cities with call to ban new petrol and diesel vehicles. So what is seemingly here as luxurious, as optional, out there, the mood already changed. They are trying to find regulations, trying to find ways of stopping the use of fossil fuel cars, petrol and diesel. So now when we celebrate electric buses, electric this, they are cleaner, air pollution, all that, please know the end. And here is the thing that now this happened in the US. Of course, in the US, the previous administration of Biden tried to impose policies. Their aim was to have 56% electric vehicle sales by 2032. 56%. Now, this is a country where they manufacture these heavy cars, the Hammers and all, guzzlers of petrol, of diesel. Now they wanted to shift, to take a shift away. Why? Because there is this urgent matter of climate change that is causing a lot of health impacts on on us, the humans. We talked about heat strokes. So they needed to take steps. Those steps, get rid of these fossil fuel cars, and then we move to electric vehicles. The Biden administration was looking at 56% sales by 2030. How are they going to do it? Of course, they are looking at things like tax subsidies to companies that produce electric vehicles, and of course, heavy regulation and heavy taxes to the companies that are producing the fossil fuel cars. So subsidies here for those who are producing the electric vehicles, and heavy punishment in terms of taxation and regulation for those who are producing um, fossil fuel cars, petrol and diesel cars. But of course, Trump moved in. When Trump became president, removed all that. He said, no, 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 that can't happen in the US. And I said that at the US, people have to have freedom of choice. No subsidies, no regulation. Let the electric car industry produce, and then the petrol and diesel and fossil fuel cars also produce, and the customer should choose what they want. You get that? That's how it came in. But you know that the control freaks that are rolling out these agendas every now and then are not looking after choice. They want to decree. They want to rule by decree. That hey, there's this crisis, what? Oh, this pandemic, what? Antivirus lockdown. Hey, there's this virus X curfew. They don't want choice. That you know what? Like in the early 90s when there was this pandemic, not pandemic, okay, pandemic at the time, AIDS had rolled in Uganda. It was perhaps at its peak, um, where the government came up with the ABC, that's abstinence, be faithful, and condom use as ways of fighting this disease. But the government left the choice to the people. Decide what you are going to do. They did not go out to lock bars, lock nightclubs, lock, these places that were presumed to be catalysts to the spread of the disease. No, they didn't go out locking down those places. No, 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 they didn't. They gave the people the options. They told them the dangers of this disease. Hey, take care of yourself. It's up to you. Today, no, that's not out of the window. These people don't operate like that. They want an operation whereby they come, they say there's pandemic X, therefore lockdown, lockdown. You say don't, but now Trump comes in, he's like, no, 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 no. People should be able to choose. Of course, but of course, we see in California, the authorities wanted to mandate a 100% electric car or electric vehicle sales by 2035. 100%. Of course, this is being legally challenged. So we see that in some of these states that have bought into these climate change kind of agendas, they were already rolling out by 2035, only in California, only electric vehicle cars. Why? They're fighting climate change. So you see that that was going to cause a lot of disruption in the automobile industry. For example, what do you think would take, say, a Ford of sorts to switch its entire manufacturing plant from uh, producing fossil fuel cars to electric vehicles? That's quite some heavy investment. But of course, they're being promised a lot of tax incentives um, and whatever. And again, the other side, that if they stuck to their guns to produce the petrol and diesel cars, that are being heavily punished by taxes and regulations. So you find that yes, there was a crowd this side and there was a punishment the other side, but it would lead to a disruption in terms of their industry is very, very big, and it would require heavy, I think, investment in terms of switching up your entire production system to cater for this new agenda of electric vehicles. Now, again, you have to know why are they pushing this? They are telling us that, hey, we are living in precarious times. We are living in an era of global boiling. We had that from Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the UN, and they're telling us that human activity has helped uh, you know, make 2025 third hottest year on record, experts are saying. So we have to uh, stop certain of these human activities that are causing climate change. They can't sit back. It will be irresponsible. So they are doing everything they can. And one of those things that they are doing is coming for your car. Yes, because your car that is using diesel or petrol is polluting the environment. The air pollution is unbearable, and it's causing all this heat, those fumes being emitted, and then it's leading to climate change, and then the heat waves, and then the strokes. Generally speaking, if we need to do something, that's what they are selling you. We noticed in the previous episodes here that this is all a hoax. You can check the episode on how our tenfold economic growth that we are projecting to move from a 50 billion to a 500 billion US dollar economy by 2040. That think one of the major pillars is climate action. It's built on a scam. I proved there that this entire climate talk is a scam. It's built on lies and not also sub. But I also want to emphasize that here that while they talk about climate change is that we need to all take action. Actually, there is no climate emergency. And one of the clips I saw here, I'm going to show you, was really amazing. But I wanted to first pick from this comment that I picked online. Again, this person was responding to one of those fear mongering people that keep talking about this climate change, how climate change is killing us. The person said that the ignorance of those who would presume to regulate our lives is staggering. Their ignorance is staggering, and I'll prove it in this clip where there are some experts, climate change experts, that appeared before the House Transportation Committee in the US um, about infrastructure investment. And I think there was an act that they wanted to pass in the US about infrastructure investments. And these climate change advocates also appeared in this committee to talk their climate change things. Republican was called Doug La Maufa. Anyway, you'll see his name. He asked them one simple question, that if at all we say that we are fighting climate change, and climate change is primarily caused by the accumulation of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, he asked them a simple question. Then, how bad is it? What is the percentage of this carbon dioxide in the atmosphere that we are trying to fight? Because you'll be shocked. Because when you hear climate change, and you hear about these, greenhouse gases, and talk about carbon dioxide, how we need to fight this, and the noise that you've heard about climate change, you'll be shocked to hear the amount or the percentage of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere that we are trying to fight. But I'll stop here and give you a chance to listen to this for yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Panelists, let me just go right down the line real fast. What percent of our atmosphere is CO2? Take your best guess. You don't have to be accurate. All down the line.
Repeat that question.
What percent of our atmosphere is CO2, carbon dioxide? Wild guess, it's okay.
I'll bite 5%.
5?
I'll just follow you then.
We'll go 7. That's my favorite number.
I'll see their 5 and suggest that we know that transportation causes 49% of CO2, so that's why we're all working on energy transition.
All right. So what number do you think it is?
5.
5? How about you? I didn't hear you, Mr. Dreyer.
7.
7. Did you have one, Mr. Boyd?
So we got a 5, 7,
This Price is Right.
8. I'm gonna
Okay.
get the high end.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, and I don't mean to put you on ice. I ask a lot of people that because all we hear is climate change, CO2, CO2. I heard a couple of you on the panel saying you're looking to change your vehicles to electric, even though we don't have the electric grid. And me as a farmer, I wouldn't be real happy about running out and replacing $300,000, $500,000, $1 million pieces of equipment because someone wants it to be electric. The answer is 0.04%. Not 1%, not a half of a percent. It's 0.04%, and it's gone up from 0.03 over the last couple decades. This is what we're being all contorted into doing, is this tiny change in CO2. If we get below 0.02, plant life starts dying off.
You've heard for yourself. 4 experts appearing before that transport committee could not tell or did not know, were totally ignorant about the percentage of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. 5, 7, I'll say 8. So they even don't know how bad the situation is, or the gas is, how much the gas is there in the atmosphere that they are trying to fight tooth and nail. What does that tell you about the intentions of these people if they're ignorant about this thing that they're trying to fight? Now, of course, so many saw this clip and they'll quickly perhaps tell you their own reasons right now, and perhaps they got reasons to go around that. But that exposed them. You are 4 experts. You are telling us you are fighting this dangerous thing, and someone asks you, so okay, how bad is it? Tell us. Has it reached precarious levels, this carbon dioxide? And guessing way off the mark. So what is that you're fighting tooth and nail, and then you don't know how bad it is? But you're telling us, no, it's bad. And then one of them was saying, transportation causes 49% of the carbon dioxide. 49%. You see how they are coming for your cars. That all these greenhouse, all that carbon dioxide, yeah, 49% is caused by the cars. Perhaps from manufacturing to their lifetime on the roads. Perhaps that's what they're looking at, 49%. So if they're looking at tackling climate change, they're starting. That's a major place to start. And that's why they're pushing all this agenda of electric cars. And then, of course, there are this. This senator also mentioned our congressman. I don't know, I didn't search that out well, but he mentioned something like, if again the carbon dioxide drops to a certain level, that's 0.02% in the atmosphere, we shall not have plant life here. Plant life will start to die. But while it's at 0.04, these people are fighting. You would think that it has reached, I don't know, which precarious levels. No, it's at 0.04%. That's what they're pretending to be fighting. Fighting something that does not exist, that is not harmful at all. It's not at precarious levels at all, but they are saying they are fighting carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So you fight it from 0.04%. It says if it drops to 0.02%, plant life here will start to die. So what are we fighting? But I love this comment I found again on X. This person, again, these alarmists who go on telling us that we are about to die. This response here by a man called Pierre Roberts said that climate change, he was responding, climate change is trying to kill us really. Can someone explain to her, you are referring to the lady, that carbon dioxide constitutes only 0.04% of total atmosphere and that human activity accounts for approximately 3% of that 0.4 of that 0.04%. So 3% of 0.04% is certainly not worth panicking over. So in essence, this is what he's saying, that all this panic they are causing, all this panic is because, one, you have to notice that the carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere is 0.04%, okay? But human activity is responsible for only 3% of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. 3% of 0.04%. So, who is responsible, or what is responsible for the other carbon dioxide in the atmosphere? The 97%. Those are natural causes. So, but they are concentrating on human activity. One, we've seen that the levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere are not alarming. They're 0.04%. Two, human activity is only responsible for 3% of that carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So if you sort, okay, if you say no, even at 0.04% is bad, it's bad, humans have to do something. Humans are only responsible for 3% of that carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So if you sort the 3% and clamp down on people's livelihoods, don't drive, don't do this, don't do that, shut down industries. What about the 97%, which is caused by natural causes? Won't the 97% cause climate change? Because humans are only responsible for 3%. Natural causes are responsible for 97% of the carbon dioxide, but the efforts are concentrating on the 3% human activity. So if you do away with all the 3%, if humans stopped all their production, everything they do, and wouldn't this 97% natural causes of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere still bring about the climate change? They need to prove that if we get rid of human activities, this 97% for it is okay, it won't harm the planet. Can they prove that? It's like me telling you that if you have a problem, say road safety in Uganda, I think at the moment it's 11 deaths per day on our roads. Now, if you reach a conclusion and you do research and find out that, you know what, many of these accidents are caused by, say, border borders. Say, 7 of the 11 per day are caused by border borders, which means that if you are going to tackle this issue of fatal crashes on the roads, you have to, where do you start from? The major issue. You have to start from the border borders if you want to solve it. But then if you say 3% of these are, if you say 97% of the road crashes are caused by border borders, 97, right? But 3% are caused by, say, pedestrians, or 3% are caused by, say, uh, bicycles. So where are your efforts supposed to concentrate? Are you going to first address the 3% bicycles and then leave the 97% border borders? Do you think we'll be making an impact? But that's what they are doing in climate change. They are trying to come for the human activities that are responsible for only 3% of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and leaving the 97%, which is caused by natural causes, because they can't do anything about natural causes. And then, too, you have to know, because this is a hoax, they are lying, there's no crisis at all. But they are cooking it like there's a crisis, and they are saying much of that crisis, we have to address that crisis, we have to clamp down on human activity. Human activity is coming for your livelihood. Right now, we are talking electric cars, like the buses that have just been launched, which are part of an agenda that they're rolling out. They're coming for the cars. But again, like we saw, not all scientists agree. We looked at these articles and some papers, they have they have signed. There's this article that 1,100 eminent scientists declare there is no climate emergency. Scientists don't agree at all. Climate policy must respect scientific and economic realities. There is no climate emergency. Therefore, there is no cause for panic and alarm. We strongly oppose the harmful and unrealistic net zero carbon dioxide policy proposed for 2050. And there is this Nobel Peace Prize winner. He was a scientist, Professor John Closer. He said the popular narrative about climate change reflects a dangerous corruption of science that threatens the world's economy and well-being of billions of people. These people are after destruction of our well-being under the guise of a climate catastrophe that is not there. It has been proven. Carbon dioxide is not at precarious levels. And yet, even then, while it's not at precarious levels, humans are only responsible for 3% of that. So why disrupt people's livelihoods when there's no emergency and they're only responsible for a tiny fraction of whatever emergency you've cooked up? Okay. But again, it's when these things are rolled out, like we often see people jump onto them, air pollution, the air pollution, as like, oh, the films in Kampala, they are picking on of narratives from wherever they are coming from. Some of them don't, some ignorant. I think majority, and they think that shows that you are in tandem with what is happening around. But the saddest thing of it is for us to think that that's the end. That the end is they want us to switch from the fossil fuel cars to electric vehicles, and that's it. That's it. If that's all they want, why don't we do it? How much will this cost anyway? It's even it's using cleaner energy. There are no fumes. Have you been behind driving or walking behind a truck trying to go up a hill? The fumes, my God, they're suffocating. Those are the things we think. We think that it's about switching from these cars to that cars. No, that's just a process. They take us process by process. The end goal is to get rid of cars. Now, the other process that they're rolling out to ensure that you get rid of cars, not even electric vehicles, no, cars, is you've heard about the car-free days, haven't you? Yeah, car-free day, yeah, car-free day. Wow. And again, they also talk about car-free days in glowing terms. The air in Kampala was fresh. It was nice. It was free. They talk about car-free days. The end goal of car-free days, let us see it. But first of all, I want to show you how they talk about these things. You know, there is the narrative of air pollution, and they talked about air pollution. They talk about how these fossil fuel cars, pollute the air, and it's so bad. And that's why World Health Organization has come up with this agenda to cut these deaths that are caused by this poor air that we breathe in, to cut those number of deaths by 50% by 2040. And that's why we have this car-free day to at least, free Kampala of these fumes from these fossil fuel cars. And I also picked this up, the health revolution, Kampala free day. Then there's this a day without cars in Kampala, a breath of fresh air. You see, but this article, whenever they are talking about these things, it's not funny, but looking through their agendas and the end is quite obvious when you know the things. So this article, the health revolution, Kampala car-free day. They talked about it like this. Car-free days are becoming a powerful tool for cities to promote healthier and active lifestyle. Healthier because they are doing away with what? Air pollution. According to the World Health Organization, regular physical exercise such as walking and cycling plays a key role in improving cardiovascular health, reducing stress, and enhancing overall well-being. You see, now they want you to start walking and cycling because it's good for your health. Get out of those cars. Now they are talking car-free days. Now on these car-free days, even if you have your electric vehicle, no, it's a car-free day. Park it. You're supposed to walk or ride. These are initiation steps to the end that they want to drive you to. And I'm saying they want to drive you to. Yes, they're saying it's good for your health. You get. And they say, moreover, walking and cycling have many environmental benefits like reducing noise, air pollution, and carbon emissions. So you see, these cafe days are required. They are fighting climate change. Besides your health, they also have environmental benefits. So why don't you get rid of that car? Now we are not even talking about electric vehicles. We are talking about vehicles in general. Even fossil fuel cars, get rid of them. Even get rid of all cars. Now, if you thought electric vehicles at the end, they want you to walk or cycle. It's good for your health. You see, recognizing that these benefits, Kampala has joined this global movement by opening its streets to people at least once a year, transforming its streets from car corridors into vibrant spaces for physical activity and community connection. There's even community connection. There's a lot of benefits to, uh, to gain. There's a lot of benefits to this move away from cars. People will be walking, they'll be healthier, they'll be cycling, cardiovascular issues will be history, no noise pollution, no air pollution. We shall be healthier. So World Health Organization cares for you. And and again, there, for me, the thing is that these people are so obsessed with air pollution that even they had the same narrative during COVID. Remember, people were stuck at home. People are suffering all manner of mental health. Almost every bad or vice in society escalated during those lockdowns. The mental health issues, the suicidal issues. We talked about the domestic violence. We talked about kids not going to school. We talked about even theft, all manner of vices increased. People locking people out of their places of worship, keeping them at home. Is everything. While people are suffering like that, people's livelihoods cut short. People couldn't earn. Even the food, the beans and pressure that were promised them, some never got. People are at home stuck. And these people are here praising what? Oh, the air is fresher. They talk about the first COVID-19 lockdowns improved air quality. Where, and they talked about where are we a year later. They talk about air quality. While people are dying, people are starving, livelihoods destroyed, and people are here talking about what? Air quality. Then air quality for when people are dying. And then and also we caught on the bag. We talked about lockdown city air improves by 40%. So if our city air has improved by 40%, what does that tell you? When these people are talking about air pollution, it means they want to keep it at 40%. How do we ensure that we maintain 40% in spite the lockdowns, being done away with? I think we need to get rid of these cars. They start by car-free days. Okay, they start by moving you away from petrol and diesel cars to electric. And you think you're going to set on electric. Then there are car-free days, and you think it's just a one-day thing. I mean, no, car-free days, I mean, they improve the air. What? Just like COVID, to improve the air, in the city. So what do we do? Get rid of these cars forever, so that it's not just one day. But then again, we see a ginger also to host annual car-free day to promote health and environment. Other cities are catching on. Of course, our neighbors here in Kigali also caught on. Perhaps they move at times ahead of us regarding these things. And these car-free days, of course, they receive exaggerated media coverage. Thousands of people turned out on Sunday for Kigali's final car-free day of the year. I think these ones even have more than one. According to the city of Kigali, the edition focused on raising awareness about ending gender-based violence, HIV/AIDS prevention, and promoting hygiene and cleanliness. So these ones even added so many other things. But the end goal of this agenda, like I've told you, today we are talking about electric um, vehicles. We are talking about the electric bus, how it's giving us the electric experience for these noise engines, especially you Subaru drivers and your engines, noise pollution and the air pollution. While we are talking in glowing terms about these electric things, it's not the end is they are coming for your cars. They have initiated you by these car-free days. What if it becomes a car-free week? What if they become car-free zones? But let's see. There's this case study of a city in Spain. Now they say that this city in Spain has been car-free for 27 years. Car-free, no car. Since and deaths there have been zero traffic deaths since 2009. You see, since no traffic deaths since 2000. So car-free for 27 years. There is an experiment they're carrying out somewhere. And that experiment is what they are trying to implement everywhere. They decided that this city should be car-free. And now you see the advantages they are giving us. And no dates, no. You see in Kampala, is it Kampala? Is it yeah, in Kampala, where we have dates, I think getting up to 11 per day, traffic related. And now you see, we can save people's lives by getting rid of these cars from certain areas of Kampala. These people did that, and I mean, and they are not dates. They ban the cars, and some of the reasons they give us, the streets in this Pontevedra, I think the city, are filled with people instead of noise engines. You see, noise pollution is also bad. It's bad for climate change. But perhaps before I even get further, you notice that you watch it. I'll leave it at the end. You notice that this is again pushed by World Health, World Economic Forum, whatever they touch, just know it's about control. Whatever they touch, whenever you see that organization, just know it's about controlling your life. They have almost never thought about something developmental. Yeah, they are talking about, and there has been no traffic death since 2009. But again, for me, when they talk about no traffic death since 2009, you have to know that it's not the cars that cause accidents. It's people. All that causes road crashes is people. That's why any mitigation measure towards reduction of these fatal crashes in Kampala, it doesn't aim to. Okay, there may be some, mechanical, technological advancements in cars that we've seen over the years, but much of those efforts concentrate on you, the driver. When they come with the breathalyzer to check the alcohol content in your blood, if you are able to drive, they check you, the driver, not the car. When they are looking for permits, should you be able to drive, they are looking at you, the driver. You get. So it's not when you go for driving test, they're testing you, the driver, not the car. So who causes the road crashes? It's not the car, it's the people. But yeah, when they talk about the deaths and there are no cars, therefore there are no, traffic related deaths. It's as if it's the cars that cause the deaths. No, it's people. It's again the same argument that people have with guns. Get rid of guns. No, it's not the guns that kill people. People use the guns to kill others. So, so if you want to address the issue of deaths by guns, address the people. So here it's as if to get rid of to reduce this traffic deaths, instead of addressing the people, they want to address the tool, the cars anyway. But the agenda is there that get rid of cars to get rid of these deaths. They talk about 70% of traveling in this city is now on foot. That's what they want for you. Foot, walk to work. Remember, walk to work. That you move by foot. 70% is by foot. The other 30%, which is by, say, cars. Who are those I'm driving? It's usually rules for you and not for them. Usually it's rules for you and not for them. While 70% are walking, I don't know what the other 30%, who the other 30% who are driving are. Maybe you could assume factories, delivering things to supermarkets. Maybe you would assume ambulances. Maybe, but could those ones form up to 30%? I don't know. But then there's also air pollution has decreased by 61% since 2013. Air pollution. Now this place is so, man, it's so super. Now that's what they want for you also, to enjoy this cleaner air. By doing what? Get rid of your cars. Now in this city, not even electric vehicles are required. Walk, 70% are walking. And they talk about 12,000 people have moved into the city center since the ban of cars in 1999. 12,000 people. But they are not telling us the people that have left the city. And then they end with this statement of intent. They tell us that, do you think we should ban cars from cities? That's not a question. That's a statement. They're saying we should ban cars from cities. That's a statement. And now when you hear car-free days, and you celebrate, oh, a car-free experience. What? Please, this is the end. The end is that we may have car-free cities. Why do we need car-free cities? Hey, we have a climate crisis on our hands. It's the era of global boiling. We need to do anything possible to ensure that the emissions in the atmosphere caused by human activities are reduced. Yes, the emissions are 0.04%. That's the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Human activity contribution to this 0.04%, human activity is responsible for 3%. But you see how they are fighting? Now, who's fooling who? You see? But the end goal is also known. Again, it was also put out by the World Economic Forum. This was 2016 when they told us the aim at the end of the day. They want you to own that you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. You've seen those people in that Spanish city. Do they own cars? Haven't they told us that they are healthier, they are happier? Now that's the life that they want for you, to own nothing. And they're saying you'll be happy. Well, for them, they're driving, they're flying all over, they're enjoying life. Like for you, you own nothing and you'll be happy. Now that owning of nothing is going to be a process by process. These electric vehicle things we are celebrating, car-free days, they're all a move towards us having no cars, removing our cars. And they're saying, do you think we should ban cars from cities? They want to ban cars from cities. And these car-free days are just an initiation step. So let's be awake. And again, let's not just jump on most of these trends. Let's just scratch the surface. Check out where is this thing being applied? What reasons are they giving for this? You'll easily see the devil in the detail. And the devil in this electric vehicle kind of thing and car-free days is quite obvious. If the electric vehicles were just competitive in the market so that people have a choice on what to buy, that would be very, very fine. But is that the case? No. They want to ban the others, and while they are promoting this, and while they are promoting this, they are promoting car-free days. So, so you're even torn. So you move from your fossil fuel car, petrol and diesel, then you are thinking about electric vehicle, and then they are talking about banning cars from cities. That's the end goal, that you own nothing and you will be happy. You ask yourself, who will be owning all the things on this earth? It's always rules for you and not for them. That's it for today. Till next time.